Hi, and welcome to Fedmail. Thank you for joining us on this Friday afternoon. Hope you're doing well, in good spirits, given the circumstances. A few of you asked about the hat, Jewish Federation hat. Maybe we'll have some more made up, and we can use it as a fundraiser for Israel or to thank our donors. Thank you guys so much, in fact, for being so generous through the year and over the last several weeks, especially. We've raised about $250,000 towards our total goal of $430-something thousand, which is really terrific. The outpouring of generosity and support has just been great. And I know that all of you have been watching the news and seeing what's gone on, not only in Israel and with the military operation now underway against Hamas in Gaza, but also on our college campuses and in our cities and in our towns, and all of the challenging situations that our people have been faced with. And we're a resilient people. We can't forget that. We've got to keep that in mind always. And while the days ahead of us seem daunting, and we still are mourning in such sadness and grief over what happened on October 7th and the fact that there are still 220 plus hostages being held, and I know that all of us are seeing the images of the Israeli military operation in Gaza, and that's a terrible situation to be in too. But all of us continue to come together, both in support of Israel and in support of one another, and I think that that is just exemplary. So I want to say thank you to that. Thank you for that. I also want to note that tomorrow is Torathon coming up in the evening, Saturday evening, and I can't wait to see all of you there. I know that a lot of you have asked about security. We've been working with Worcester PD on that, and there will be Worcester police officer plan to be there, and then also some security personnel from our own community. So just know that we've always prioritized security, but especially in light of recent developments. A few of you have asked about the Palestinian flag flying at Worcester City Hall. I was contacted about that, and our understanding, we were advised that it was requested through the city manager's office. Some of you may have said, oh, well, wasn't there something we could do about it? And there isn't. And I want to note, of course, that we have flown the Israeli flag at City Hall on a number of occasions, and we're grateful that we're able to do that. And we held an event back in the first days after the October 7th attack. You may remember it. I mean, a number of you attended, and we flew the flag at half staff at Worcester City Hall. And we've held a few events since then, or we've participated in a few events then too, in addition to planning them. There was a student-led vigil on Saturday evening at Institute Park here in Worcester, and a student from Worcester State University put that together with the assistance of Senator Mike Moore, and it was attended by a few elected officials, City Councilor Mo Bergman, Mayor Joe Petty, City Councilor Donna Calorio, City Councilor Kate Toomey, City Councilor Candy Merrill Carlson were all there, and a number of community members who attended. And the spirit and tone of that vigil, that gathering was, of course, of the somber and sadness over the hostages that are still being held and the deaths, the murder victims of the October 7th barbaric, atrocious attacks, but also one of hope for future of peace and coexistence. We can all hope for that and work towards it, even if it's ways off at this moment. There was a rally held at Worcester City Hall the following day. It was branded as a ceasefire rally. I've talked about that a little in correspondence. I mean, my disappointment with it is both that the rhetoric at the rally was quite severe and harsh, with some speakers suggesting that the actions were in some way justified. The October 7th actions were in some way justified. Some of the posters that were held up at the rally said things like beheaded babies were a lie, and from the river to the sea. And there were flyers of the hostages being held in Israel that were torn down. And I mean, all of that was, how can you say that that's a ceasefire rally? A ceasefire rally should talk about the need for putting down weapons, for Hamas to put down weapons, stop firing rockets into Israel, and then asking the entire rally was focusing solely on what Israel was doing militarily, and There were accusations of genocide and ethnic cleansing coming from City Councilor Nguyen. City Councilor Haji was talking about the need for humanity in this moment and caring for the humanity of the Palestinian people, but didn't mention the humanity of the Israelis who have suffered so greatly since October 7th. So, I mean, I personally feel that was a missed opportunity to condemn Hamas publicly by all the speakers and by the rally in general. I think that if we really expect to have a future of prosperity and goodness for the young people who live in the region, we ought to be talking that way and pushing for more of that tone and less of the hostile rhetoric and saying things like from the river to the sea, which of course is interpreted by supporters of Israel as meaning the destruction of Israel, the removal of all of the Jewish people who are there. And it's so important to condemn Hamas. We must continue to condemn Hamas and ask anyone who has who's a public speaker to do so. And yesterday there was a vote in Congress, in fact, calling on college campuses to do a better job condemning Hezbollah and Hamas. And while it passed in Congress, a number of about 20-something congressional representatives voted against it. And Congressman McGovern, who represents a lot of the members of Jewish Federation of Central Mass, was one of the voters who voted against that. And it was, on a personal level, I can't understand how condemnation of Hamas or Hezbollah would not be voted on. And I certainly have been encouraging any elected officials who may be engaging in rhetoric or statements that have some impact on the Jewish community to clarify their position so that we don't have a misunderstanding. And I think that it's certainly important right now and incumbent upon anyone who's making public pronouncements to be clear about their support for Israel and their condemnation of Hamas if they're trying to create a sense of, care for all, which is obviously part and parcel, fundamental to the way so many people are thinking about this. You know, there's care and sympathy and empathy across the board. Anyway, I feel like I'm rambling, but I want to note, importantly, that tomorrow night, Saturday evening after Shabbat, is Torathon, a night of Jewish learning. And this year there is a wonderful opening klezmer concert planned. It is in honor of Irving White of blessed memory. So many of you, of course, remember Mr. White fondly. He was a longtime member of Beth Israel, on Beth Israel's board. Apparently, I understand he was a lover of klezmer music, and the opening concert is dedicated to him. And of course, we'll also be during the opening program, we'll certainly mention what has gone on in Israel, and also note that this week marks the 85th anniversary of Kristallnacht, which took place in 1938, and was a night of total destruction of thousands of synagogues across Germany and Austria. Jewish leaders were rounded up and brought to the early concentration camps, and Holocaust experts sometimes refer to Kristallnacht as the beginning of the physical Holocaust that ultimately, of course, led to the destruction of European Jewry, the murder of 6 million of our people. So it's a noteworthy and somber commemoration. Want to say thank you once again for all of your support and your patience. I want to let you know I'm really trying my best. We all are. All of us in the community, we couldn't do it without you, and I really appreciate your guidance, your support, and again, your patience as we try to get it right as we navigate this very, very difficult, challenging time. But as we end a lot of our programs in person, we say, Am Yisrael Chai. We're hoping for peace, hoping for prosperity, and a much better future of coexistence and brightness. And I wish you all a Shabbat Shalom. Look forward to seeing you next week with, hopefully, God willing, good news. Take care. See you at Torathon. Bye-bye.